Welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes you hear these stories that just sound, well, almost too strange to be real. Well, get ready, because today we're diving into exactly one of those. We are talking about Ishmael.
And importantly, not the Ishmael from Moby Dick.
No, definitely not. This is a real orca. And his life story is pretty incredible. Capture, military training, and then this really dramatic escape back to the ocean.
Yeah, it's quite the journey. We've pulled this together mainly from sources like the Orcapod Wiki and the Killer Whale Wiki.
Right.
And our mission really is to just unpack the key facts, the insights about this very unique whale, trying to figure out what makes his story stand out so much.
So Ishmael, he was an adult male southern resident orca, powerful animal.
Yeah.
And his name, it actually means God will listen in Hebrew, which feels kind of fitting somehow.
His story really kicks off with his capture back in the late 1960s.
Yeah.
Then he becomes part of this, pretty significant U.S. Navy program.
Which is wild in itself.
Totally. And it all leads up to this big escape moment in the early 70s.
And as we get into it, you'll hear some really interesting details. Things about, like, his physical characteristics, who he was in captivity with.
Right, his companions.
Exactly. And the specifics of his military training, what they actually taught him to do.
Yeah, and the escape itself. The circumstances around it are fascinating. And, like often happens when you dig into older records, there are these little discrepancies between the sources. Different details here and there, which honestly just adds another layer, doesn't it? Makes it more intriguing.
It really does. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's peel back those layers. Ishmael, captured October 1968. Southern resident male.
Yep. And right away, here's our first, puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit perfectly.
Okay.
The Killer Whale Wiki says, very specifically, October 5th, 1968, from Yukon Harbor, Washington. And they estimate his age then at just 6 years old.
Wow, only 6. That seems pretty young for an adult male designation.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. A 6-year-old orca, behaviorally, biologically, it's quite different from a fully mature one.
Right.
But then you look at the Orcapod Wiki, same month, October 68, but they suggest the capture location was Pender Harbor, BC. Different place.
Okay, so different location.
And a different age estimate. They put him at around 15-plus years old at capture.
15 plus. Okay, that's a huge difference from 6.
It really is. And it kind of highlights, the challenges back then. Keeping precise records for wild marine mammals. Figuring out their birth certificate, so to speak. Not easy.
No, absolutely. It makes reconstructing these life stories tricky, especially when, the subject can't tell you themselves.
Exactly.
But what both sources do agree on is that he was a full-grown male by the time the Navy got him.
Right. Though even his size has slight differences in the records. Killer Whale Wiki says 17 feet and 68.
Okay.
Orcapod Wiki lists him at 19.9 feet, nearly 20 feet, and gives a weight, 4,490 pounds for that same year.
So some fuzziness on the exact details of the capture, but the core fact remains he was captured and the U.S. Navy acquired him.
That's the key point.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the only one taken then.
Oh.
No, the Killer Whale Wiki mentions he was captured alongside others named Ahab, Cuddles, Haida, and Mammoth.
Ahab. Interesting name choices there.
Yeah. But it was Ishmael and Ahab who were selected for the Navy program. They were shipped off to Point Mugu, California.
Okay, Point Mugu. What happened there?
Well, they were kept in this circular tank, 50 feet across, 8 feet deep. Pretty small, really.
Yeah.
And for several months, they were the subjects of, significant physiological research.
Physiological research, like understanding how orcas work, their diving maybe, or was it more geared towards Navy stuff?
Probably a mix of both, really.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely looking at their diving abilities, echolocation, how they adapt. But it wasn't just observation. They were actively training Ishmael.
Ah, okay. Training for what?
The Killer Whale Wiki lists several specific behaviors he learned, things needed for future projects. Retrieving an air-filled ring, allowing handlers to get close to him, responding to a recall buzzer.
Right, the buzzer.
Yeah, swimming through a gate, and even following a skiff, like a small boat.
It sounds almost like training a dog, but for an orca?
Kind of, yeah, but obviously with military applications in mind. Teaching him basic interaction with human commands and equipment, that was the foundation.
Right. Foundational training. But leading towards what exactly? What was the big goal here?
So that brings us to something called Project Deep Ops.
Deep Ops. Sounds serious.
It was. In October 69, Ahab was shipped out to Hawaii for this project, along with a couple of pilot whales. Ishmael followed him there in January 1970.
To Hawaii. Okay. Did he go willingly?
Apparently not entirely at first. The sources say he initially showed some resistance, like refused to leave his sea pen in Hawaii. But eventually he did cooperate.
And deep ops.
Yeah.
This wasn't just swimming around the surface, I take it.
No, definitely not. He became a deep diver, a really deep diver for them. He reached a maximum recorded depth of 500 feet.
500 feet. Wow. And what was Project Deep Ops actually for?
It was a classified Navy initiative, basically exploring how marine mammals could help with deep-sea operations.
Like finding things.
Exactly. Yeah. Particularly recovering underwater objects. Maybe sensitive equipment that got lost, possibly even detecting submerged items. It was pretty cutting-edge stuff back then, using animals this way. Very unconventional.
It's just, hard to picture. This huge wild animal trained to fetch things for the Navy from the deep ocean. There's a definite irony there.
There is. And all this intensive training, this unusual life, it leads directly to the climax of his story.
The escape.
The escape. February 19th, 1971, out in Hawaii during an open ocean training session, something happened. Ishmael apparently got frustrated.
Frustrated? How could they tell?
The trainers noted it, decided to cut the session short because of his behavior.
Okay, so they tried to bring him back in.
They did. They used the recall signal, the buzzer probably.
Right.
But Ishmael, well, he had other ideas.
He just ignored it.
Completely ignored it. Swam away from the boat, just left.
But didn't they have tracking devices on him?
They did, yeah. But the signal was apparently too weak to get a precise location. The last confirmed sighting was him just heading out. Towards the open ocean. Towards freedom.
Wow. And they searched.
Oh, yeah. Extensively. Helicopters, boats, the works. But nothing. No sign of Ishmael was ever found. He was never seen again.
Just gone.
Vanished. The OrcaPod Wiki confirms the escape February 71 from Hawaii. And it notes that Ahab, his old partner, he remained in captivity.
So let's just recap this incredible story. Ishmael's journey. It starts with that capture, October 68. Maybe Yukon Harbor, Washington, maybe Pender Harbor, BC.
Right, depends on the source you lean towards.
Then he ends up in the U.S. Navy Marine Mammal Program. Capture alongside Ahab, maybe Cuddles, Haida, Mammook too.
And Ishmael and Ahab go to the Navy.
Then the journey continues. Washington to California, Point Mugu, that's where the research happened and the specific training.
Yeah, the ring retrieval, letting handlers approach, the buzzer recall, the gate swimming, following the boat.
Yeah.
All that groundwork.
Groundwork for the big stuff in Hawaii. Project Deep Ops, where he dives down to 500 feet, recovering objects.
Quite the career path for an orca.
Until February 19th, 1971. Hawaii again. The frustration, ignoring the recall.
Yep. Swimming away from the boat despite the trackers. The search finding absolutely nothing, never seen again.
It's just such a story. And those details you mentioned, the discrepancies.
Right. The age difference at Capture 6 versus 15 plus. The location, Washington versus BC. Even the exact length, 17 feet versus almost 20.
It really does show how complex getting accurate historical records can be, doesn't it? Especially decades ago with wild animals.
Absolutely. Piecing together history is often like assembling a mosaic, different pieces, slightly different views.
Yeah. So we're left with Ishmael, this highly trained whale, conditioned for specific tasks, who ultimately chose freedom. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
And maybe that's the question we leave you, the listener, with. What does Ishmael's story, this animal taught to serve, but who ultimately went back to the wild, what does it teach us about that really complicated relationship between humans and wild creatures? And maybe about that deep, irresistible pull of the open ocean?